the whole laptop wanted to make your text extremely large.
And Christina
I
and
reduced that.
to normal. I don't know how it got big to begin with, so.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's a start.
so oddly, like, my whole world is in Chrome and I don't have that many.
You're ready. If you ain't already.
we're ready.
Yeah. And so.
5:06. 5:06.
It's 5:06. Today is Thursday, May 7th. 2026. We're calling the Finance and Personnel Committee meeting to order. And public comment on agenda items, 2 minutes per person, 14 minutes per topic. Nothing, nobody's on?
No.
Okay. Next is the minutes of February 5th.
Make a motion to adopt the minutes as submitted.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Alright,
Aye. Opposed, nay. Library report. Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, you're all good there. Not too late there. Hi, guys. Hope you're all doing well. I think Andrea probably included our library report in your packet. So you saw the good news that the library received a national grant from the American Library Association. And this grant is to help the library serve people with disabilities, specifically neurodivergent. So individuals with cognitive delays, maybe ADHD, autism, those types of disabilities. So we will be meeting with them, asking how we can better serve them and apply those funds to the best of their benefits. So the grant is for $20,000. And just this week earlier, I dropped off the check with Andrea, so that was good.
amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We want to get going on this. Daniel and I have been doing a lot of training sessions that are required for it. So we're learning. So it's good. And then last Friday was No School Day Teacher in Service. So we provided a program all about birds and raptors. So the Raptor Center was here, and then we had a raptor bingo for the kids, a craft and a snack too. We had 84 attendees at the program. So a lot of good community volunteers helping us with that too. Again, I think it's in a couple weeks. My colleague Brianna will be holding a book discussion at Oliphant Brewing. We purposely do these book discussions on Tuesday nights when it's a little slower at Oliphant, and they seem to appreciate it. We do bring in people from other communities actually into that book discussion too. So we have a pretty decent following. It's not huge, but it's good, and people enjoy it. We also have a book discussion that meets in the afternoon at the library too. And then this year we're challenging all the librarians to come up with a craft for 30 people for $30, and we'll offer that program twice in the month. So this month, in the month of May, my coworker Daniel is going to do making boba tea, which I've had boba tea, but I really didn't know how to make it or anything. So um, I don't think he did either, but he's been learning about this. So, and then my other coworker Heidi is going to do it the second session. So we try to have one in the afternoon, maybe for um, people who are retired and come to the library then, and then one in the evening. So for families or people who are working. So those are some of the things that are going on this month at the library. Do you guys have any questions or suggestions of things that you would like to see?
Cooking class for donuts.
That sounds super fun. We did have like a Chinese cooking food, and I guess he does Italian cooking as well, so that'll be fun. But donuts in the maker space, I'm there. I would be all about that.
Thank you, Christina. Wonderful work.
Thank you.
Are you getting plenty of volunteers for reading times?
For story time,
Yep.
yeah, we do. Daniel does it, and then Cheryl Schottler, she likes to be called Grandma Cheryl at Storytime. They read, and then we'll do kind of another series in June, and probably another one in August where we invite community members. So if anybody wants to read, kind of have a special theme or something, we can help them build. We usually do that, invite community members in August. So if you have ideas, let me know.
Right, cool, thank you. We will definitely make a note of that.
Great.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is impact fee report and building permits. So I had a couple questions.
Yep.
On the impact fee report, there was some negative numbers here. Is there refunds issued?
Kind of. So when CapVest first started building, we charged them an impact fee based on the number of units, thinking they were going to have a meter for each unit, which is how it was plumbed. But then they switched to just 1 meter. So I had to give them a refund of the overpayment that they made on the first building.
That was just on the first building?
Yep.
Okay, because I noticed that
Yeah,
that the numbers are falling into the other ones, fine, those are multi-metered.
these, they were charged a multimeter, but then in 2025. And then we got it figured out. Just 1 meter.
Okay, and that's the new number for the new meter?
Yeah,
Oh, so they were charged that much more.
they were charged a lot. Yeah.
So the other question I have is on a regular house is at 1690 and 993 for streets.
Mhm.
But CapVest is at a significant amount more for the water system,
Right,
but hardly anything for streets.
because they're considered commercial.
And they built the street.
Well,
Yeah,
we paid them for that.
We,
We paid them for the street.
We paid
They
them
built
for
it.
part of
we
the
will pay them for the street. We didn't pay them up front, did we?
No,
no, we already paid them for what they did.
yeah,
Oh, only a portion of it, because
Half of the street.
they did build a public road.
so commercial is less
Sometimes.
than residential?
There's a guide that you have to use, and it's a trip generator or something or other.
But I thought we
calculator.
approved. I didn't see any deviation from that in our regular
That's how
impact fees.
That's how it's always been.
Okay, all right. Again, I'm just asking the question.
Yep.
So the ones that are much smaller on
Mm-hmm.
the CapVest, those are obviously different meters, right?
Yes. It's all 1 meter. a 2 inch. 2 inch or 1.5. Depending on how many units are in the building.
So far up through April, 25 homes.
Yep.
That's 25 impact fees, I should say.
Correct.
That'd be buildings.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions on impact fees? Building permit fees?
Nope,
So I did get the March, or I'm sorry, April permit report from the building inspector, so I included that in the packet as well. It may not always be that I have it in time for the meeting, depending on when the meeting is.
Hey, department head meeting report.
We did not have, it was supposed to be this week, but we did not have one, for availability reasons. So. We'll try in June.
Will there be one scheduled this month then, or is it gonna be next month? And
We're going to try for June. June, the first Wednesday in June.
first Wednesday in June?
Mhm.
Okay. Budget numbers. Anything you see sticking out on you, Andrea, at all, or anything you'd care to share here?
Well, the only thing would be, under economic development, the last line on page 5, that budget is already over, by a significant amount. However, that was due to TID 7. There were some expenses for TID 7 that TID 7 wasn't created yet. So I had to put it somewhere, so I put it there. And then I will talk with Bob about where it should be, because you can't apply expenses when,
To an uncreated TID,
correct.
I understand.
Yeah.
So will there be a movement of that money? Cause I know you put it
Yeah.
there, but eventually that's gonna be a negative number to put it back in the balance, right?
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
That's just that, the 157,390 economic development other expense?
Yes.
Okay. Remember seeing it last month, yes. Up on the top, I couldn't remember where it was at, but hotel room tax. In 2026, we have $104.31 for hotel room tax.
Yes.
Can you tell me where we have a hotel?
It also includes,
Airbnbs.
yes, short-term rental.
Oh, okay, so the short-term rentals falling, okay.
Yeah.
Cause
I'll get a report every once in a while in the mail, home away or
and with a check,
with a check. Yep,
excuse me.
so,
Well, that's good to know, cause I was wondering about that. I've seen that a couple times before, but we haven't had a chance to meet, so that's what.
mhm.
You have any other questions?
I don't.
Well, next item on bid, up for, the agenda is discuss and possible recommendation, electronic storage of records. I'm assuming Andrea?
Nope, this is actually from Jessica.
Jessica.
Oh,
Um,
Jessica?
Yep, so it's just our existing, public records retention, ordinance, and she is requesting some changes to include that it would be, allowed to have electronic storage as well. So, she references page 2 and page 18 as where the changes are.
But there's a significant backup for that too, isn't there, right? I
Mhm.
mean, electronic records, we have to maintain everything in paper copy as well right now currently.
Currently, yeah.
And there's a reason for that?
Other than it's state mandated.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. Is the state mandating anything on that?
Yep.
Yes.
How would we be able to go to electronic then?
Okay, so on the back page, it says pursuant to with staff,
Paper records converted to electronic format should be destroyed.
Yep.
So,
so there are.
it's saying you can do it under a set of guardrails.
Correct.
Is there a cost associated with that record retention?
Well, we already have, Laserfiche software
Yeah,
and scanner that we've been, well, prior to 2020, we were taking all the old files downstairs and scanning them in to store on that data, because our storage area is not the most convenient, and two, the most ideal,
To store things in.
yeah, ideal environment for paper records. We've already had, water down there before, and, yeah, so we had started that process with older stuff, that is down there. Then the boxes were brought up, scanned in, brought back down. It's not like we didn't get rid of anything. Unless we were allowed to under our retention policy.
Right.
We do have that as well, so
we'd have to modify our retention policy then?
I don't believe so.
I think the green line stuff that she's
Yep,
added is what is recommended for board approval. So I'll make a motion to send this up to the board for approval or with recommendation and approval.
I just wanna make sure that I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I just wanna make sure that we're covering all of the deals, not just on the record retention, but that if we have a policy that
mhm.
once we got it on electronic, are we able to purge those documents through our record retention policy?
Mhm.
Is that what it says? Okay.
2 minutes on Google AI, will tell you exactly what.
One there. Second the motion. That's the entire changes on page 2 and 18.
Yes.
Any discussion? Other than what we already had? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Discussion possible recommendation, fire protection charges. I think this was forwarded over because we were talking about, the, current policy of the fire board is, or the fire commission is they receive, if they, are able to bill out for, if the individual has insurance, that they would be, able to,
That's right, insurance.
collect on the insurance. I just seen yesterday that they had at the township, they had a request for a fire, a reconsideration of that. So they do consider them if there isn't insurance or not. I didn't see what happened on it, but, I know this was kind of put to us because we wanted to look at it as far as what we want to change. And I would be, because it says a maximum charge for any would be E. And this is kind of what, is under our current code? Or is this,
This is the town's.
towns, right?
Yeah,
The town's code. and-
we don't have anything for the village as far as charging for fire calls.
So, yeah, when you mentioned the insurance part, that was part of the discussion that occurred, is often there's an opportunity to do that, so. I question, sort of the fundamental legitimacy of this. The taxpayers already pay for this.
Well,
So is the goal here to just bilk insurance companies?
no,
or-
the goal is to be consistent with the municipalities both, to what, you know, because why would one charge for it and the other one not? And if there's an opportunity, it's not really to milk, the insurance company, but the reality of it is, if it's a reimbursable expense, why would the municipality not get reimbursed for that expense? And then the taxpayers that don't have to pay that portion of it.
Right,
That, the other aspect of it that would be argued by potentially by the fire chief is that when you have a structure fire, your costs go up versus just you know, rolling onto a medical aid or something like that. You're gonna have additional man hours, your additional, you know, hotspots, this, that, and that drives the cost up that is not really budgeted. So he does the best job of budgeting where he needs to be at, but on the structural fires, there's additional cost incurred that this money would help absorb. That we wouldn't have to necessarily, and I know we'd have to bill out for it, but they do in the town.
I don't know how you do it administratively though either.
Like when there's a structure fire, the chief sends over notice to the clerk and the clerk bills out for it.
Bills who?
The individual that the fire was at.
So then where does that money go?
That
Once
money-
they pay it?
That money goes back to the fire commission.
So the fire department can't bill out on their own for fires?
Nope. And that's why there's a portion of it kept for maintaining the billing and stuff like that by the municipality. So right now, the municipality takes, I think, I'm not exactly sure, so, but I know that there is a cost incurred for them handling the money and doing the billing and getting that off to them.
But I have a question. These are only for special calls. These are not for your average home burning.
Mhm.
So this only applies to these special calls. Railroad,
Yeah,
federal.
There's a
Arson.
definition crisis here, I think. It seems way too arbitrary on how, when, and who, or why you send the bill.
right, and it's interesting that they charge for the cost of water use when they don't pay for the water that they use. From the village anyways.
Yeah.
That point is what they get cost of water used because they're basically harvesting water in order to use it in the township. Versus in the village. So that would be an area where we would be reimbursed for a portion of that,
Mhm.
right?
I would hope so, yeah.
I think it's worthy of more discussion on it,
Mhm.
just because, it is a service that is provided and people have to understand that we're providing that service, our tax dollars are providing that service, and that's a completely understandable thing, but on the other hand, if there's an opportunity to recoup some of those costs on behalf of the taxpayer, we should be looking at that too.
Well, the person that just got their house burned down is also a taxpayer.
I understand that. And it's not to go after that individual, but if that individual has insurance, which most people do, that would be reimbursed by the insurance company, which every taxpayer covers that too. And so if the individual doesn't have insurance or it's not reimbursed by that, they obviously will come to us and ask for, that, and we wouldn't be, I would say we wouldn't be saying too bad, so sad, you still gotta pay it. I would say, I understand that, because that whole intent is not to go and get into their pocketbook, but it is to recoup costs that are left on the table. That could be, to absorb some of the costs incurred by the commission or the department.
But again, these only apply to these special cases. These don't apply to the home
Well,
fire.
the special call is anything, it says there, situations.
It appears to me to be at the discretion of whoever writes the report is what a special
Exactly.
case is. So I feel like it's a little loose and lofty. I would like it to be refined, but I'll make a motion to send this up to the village board for further discussion.
My suggestion on that would be that we take out anything that has to do with regards to town and the town fee specials, right? In addition to fees specified in the schedule, right? Property ownership is responsible, and maybe we hone this down to if the individual has insurance and if it's covered by insurance, then they would be responsible for the reimbursement through their insurance company. And because again, it's a little more
You've got,
overzealous for this town, and even the town said, well, we don't know about, a lot of this stuff too.
Well, here's part of the problem though administratively. Andrea is not the insurance police. So she sends this
No.
bill and then the homeowner goes, why do I gotta pay this? I don't have this kind of insurance.
Yeah.
Right,
She's not gonna argue with them.
and they're not,
Well, she wouldn't argue with him, and
There's
she's
a
not
very-
responsible to argue with them. It's no different than what Jerry does. Jerry sends them out, and if they have a problem, they come to the board and ask for abatement of it. She doesn't listen to the scanner and wait for the.
I understand it. It would only come in via report from the fire chief.
Right,
As a issue this, but I just think there's a big bubble of legality question here. That I'm not,
do you wanna rescind your motion?
um,
I feel like there's more questions that need to be answered.
oh, I don't disagree, and that's why I put it up for discussion, not for,
Right.
blanket approval tonight.
yeah, I'll rescind. We need to further investigate.
I have no problem with getting Travis in here and coming up with some, and maybe even the rest of some of the people from the town board and saying, listen, let's come up with a unified structure that we can both agree upon in both municipalities and then put them forth for adoption. And that's kind of what I was hoping was gonna happen at the fire commission meeting, but with the joint meeting, but it didn't happen there.
Right. I think this is gonna have to read different on some level between the village and the town, simply because of the water. But unless the truck has a meter on it, this is how much water it used.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be a question for the chief on it, but I'd say we forward this we ask the chief to come up with a unified. An ordinance that he is comfortable with, that works both with the clerks and able to bill and everything kind of works out. And then,
A streamlined process.
Yeah.
that's-
mhm.
Yeah,
because again, this is town.
And it's down and it's only for special calls. I mean, it isn't for your run of the mill
Right.
house burning. The only time that house burning might apply was under A6. If this been known fire hazard and let it, otherwise it's gotta be a railroad or an arson or airplane or.
the-
But then I question how they can apply the charge to the tax roll. If the person doesn't pay, because an airplane or helicopter incident, they're not going to have a parcel ID for me to put charges on. So,
Again, that's an absolutely legitimate concern, and that's where I think these are all
Yeah.
good points that need to be brought forward and,
Would you like me to invite the fire chief to the
Yeah.
next meeting?
yeah, I think, or I could, reach out to them and say, can we get something that you think might be plausible in both municipalities for a final, walkthrough, but I don't think sending it on to the village board today is, makes sense on it.
Yep. I agree.
So I'll get with, Travis and see if we can come up with some kind of thing and yeah, we'll come to the next meeting on it. Okay, next item is unfinished business employee concern policy.
I could not remember where we were at on this.
Well, there was some, we've kind of put it, there were some things that Jana was gonna offer to that, so I'm kind
The
of,
attorney and I have my analysis here that points out what the problems are
Okay.
with the proposed policy.
have you had a chance to talk to, the attorney about it?
Well, yeah, he and I looked at this
Okay.
stuff, yeah, and he said, yes, that the points that I was raising were valid, so we either need to match the policy. I don't know that the policy gets us anything. It's different than the existing policies about how to raise concerns, to make complaints or raise concerns. We already have provisions for doing that, and we have provisions for who's supposed to make the report to. I mean, that's all in the analysis. And the problem is that you've created a different line of who to go to for the problem. And we should talk about whether or not,
So the issues that are brought up under Article 1 in red, is that what you're saying are still some of the analysis, or I haven't seen your bullet points on there, Jana.
well, this was part of the original packet. You didn't.
It's in your packet.
So the summary of the proposal,
Yeah,
okay?
I raised all the issues that I see, and we need to decide whether or not this proposed policy is useful, whether it contradicts existing provisions in the handbook, whether it adds something to those or not. This is fine detailed questions that we've got.
So the current handbook says what in regards to
current
that?
handbook-
Under page, article,
Okay, look at,
on page 6. Reporting procedures, non-retaliation.
what are you looking at?
It says on page 6, employees
Okay.
handbook under heading reporting procedures, non-retaliation. It states in relative part, if you believe an employee decision has been made, an incident recurred, behavior exists to compromise your ability to maintain a safe work environment, you have been subject to any action that does not conform with the commitment to the stated policies on equal employment opportunity, anti-harassment, non-discrimination, or workplace violence, you should. That right? But it doesn't say anything about any other policies or anything like that people have violated in that regard. Maybe we need to add that language in there.
Well, we've already got we've already got 3 places where you can go if you've got a problem.
And where are they?
Okay, look at under my suggestions in the
Mhm.
second page.
Yep.
We've got the handbook has these procedures. If it's safety, EEO harassment, you go to the department head, the village clerk, or the treasurer, or you go directly to the president. Then if you've got workplace communication, interpersonal contact, blah, 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 the second bullet, you go to the department head. Then the next one, if you've got retaliation, there's how you report that. And the next one is if there's a violation of state or federal law, established village procedure, you go there. This new policy sort of lumps everything together.
But it does say under violation of local, state, and federal law, there is no guidance as to what circumstances might be as an
Right.
appropriate. So I think there's a little bit of clarification that we might need to putting into what is appropriate circumstances in order to to ensure that the policy is being complied with.
Yeah, okay, that's one of the problems, that it uses the term circumstances, but it doesn't give you any definition.
Exactly. And that's,
Right.
I don't disagree with
Yeah,
what
yeah.
your analysis is. I'm saying that I think if we drill down a little bit on this a little more, we could probably come up with something that would help smooth and define the process out than leaving loopholes in there, like you said, about what circumstances might be, as if there's no guidance to that.
Right, so that's the problem in the proposed, but it also, you know, it's. all-
That's in the current handbook.
Right,
That's not in the proposed language. The handbook had a proposal, have different procedures for
Right.
reporting complaints, right?
Right, right. The first three bullets are what the handbook is telling you to do, depending on what, if it's retaliation, you do this, if it's workplace communication, then you get to this proposed policy, which sort of lumps everything together, violations of law, procedures, then how you report them, you know, what is an established village procedure? And what are the circumstances that would lead you to go to the supervisor or the village president or the chief of police?
Right,
So it creates this new sort of vague policy. And then the problem is that it lets you sort of pick who you want to go to. That's depending on the nature of the violation, you can go to the supervisor, the president, the chief of police, or the village attorney, again, as appropriate.
well, if we all agree upon, that there's certain things that are, you know, all right with the current policy, maybe we just need to focus on the aspect of there's violations of local, state, or established village procedures or policies, right?
Well, yeah, none of these other things use the language of local, state or federal law or procedures. They all point to, they point to other provisions. We need to figure out what provisions aren't addressed in the existing handbook and create a setup, but it can't conflict with what's in.
I agree.
Yeah,
And I don't disagree at all.
Right.
What you're saying is that if we're all okay with the current handbook as far as how it's read and how it's derived with regards to safety, EEOC, workplace communication and everything else on the 3 bullet points, but there's nothing there that has anything to do with violations of local, state, federal laws, you know, or established village procedures, then maybe we need to just incorporate that and
And
who
then-
they go to.
and then, then do we want to match? The big question always is, who do you go to if you've got a problem? Do you go to your department head? Do you go to the clerk? Do you go to the treasurer? Do you go to the president? Do you go to the attorney? Do you go to the chief of police? Those, that's all, they're all over the map in terms of that.
Yeah, there is. And
And
I don't know how, you know, if you got all these different
places,
ways that you know, well, but normally in HR, you got an HR person, right? And so that's what I'm saying is that if you got a problem with somebody, you go to your HR.
Right.
HR has the opportunity to go here, or here
Right.
with it.
they plan the path.
Right, with the exception of direct reporting individuals.
Right.
Direct reporting individuals must go to their department heads first before they can go to HR. You can't just go up to HR, because HR would kick them back down. There's a chain of command.
Right,
And
But this-
I think this one's got a different,
right.
So-
And this one basically gives you the freedom to go to your supervisor, the president, the chief of police, the village attorney. You can go to any of those things. That's what the new policy is proposing, and that's a problem. It's a problem because it doesn't match.
well, I think it says with substantial waste of public funds, danger to public health or safety or violations of state or federal law is what it says. It doesn't state that anything, it says the purpose of the policy is to provide a clear and fair process for employees to consider that they see any activity may consider illegal or dishonest, such as workplace safety. Now, if you want to take workplace safety out of it, mismanagement of abuse of authority, substantial waste of public funds, that there's nothing in our employee handbook that says any of that stuff.
Right.
So if you wanna put in just a line item that we're talking about that, but that's what this employee concern policy is about, has nothing to do with, and that's why I'm perfectly fine with taking that out. If it's covered in the handbook already, well, let's not rewrite the handbook.
Right.
But there is nothing in the handbook that anybody can point to that says anything about if you find, if you have a dishonest, illegal or dishonest, you know, activities or mismanage or abuse of authority or waste of public funds or danger to public health or safety or violations of state or federal law. That's what this is referencing to.
So we'll take And then do we wanna have the open, in these new circumstances? In these new, this broader, do we wanna then, how do we want them, what path do we want to put them on?
That's a great question. I don't have the answer to
Yeah.
that, and I'm perfectly fine with tabling this until we can kind of, work through that and come up with something reasonable, but if you're looking for a path that is consistent for all of these applications, obviously, we have, department heads need to be able to go to their manager or people that are working with a manager or department head, they need to go to them first before they can go to
Yeah,
this.
and then
this
the
other
obvious
individual.
exceptions are if your problems are with the department head, then you go to somebody else.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I don't agree with just going to like the chief of police.
right, right,
That, I'm
Right.
saying that
You would
doesn't,
go. My understanding is you go to your supervisor or department head first, then if the problem is with that person, you go to the committee chair.
okay,
So who?
The committee chair. So for public works, that would be
Oh,
the
okay,
chairperson of public works.
so do we have a clear set of guidelines, do we have clear personnel? This is a supervisor, this is a department head, is that all,
It should all be department head. We don't,
okay, that's what I'm asking,
Yeah.
are supervisors always the department head?
yeah,
So
no,
not two different people,
no, but once it goes to the committee chair, then what happens?
Anyone on the board acts as HR.
right.
But if it goes to the committee chair, there's gotta be a process where at least it can get from there. And it doesn't just end with the committee chair, that it works its way through that process until final,
well.
final adjudication, so to speak,
So-
of the issue. Because
And the new proposal says the complaint may be referred to an internal village resource or an external resource. So you've gone from your department head or your supervisor and you bumped it up to the committee chair. And then the committee chair is gonna determine, can we address this internally or do we need to have somebody external look at this?
or does it go to the personnel and finance? I don't know. Or does it go outside of that?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying is that,
I think it depends on the circumstance. I don't think you
Totally.
would say it's specifically this is what you follow because it depends on what the
well,
circumstance.
and that's to some extent, we've got circumstances lined out already.
Mhm.
Safety, EO harassment, they want them to go to department head or village clerk or treasurer.
Mhm.
And then it says if it's a direct problem, you go straight to the village president. These are existing instructions now, and they're somewhat inconsistent.
I agree.
And I don't know what the process is to look at every one of these and regularize it. I mean, should the treasurer always be in the loop? Is that the right place to go for something?
So the treasurer, myself, is
Yeah.
also the deputy clerk. So if the clerk is unavailable, then you would come to me as the deputy clerk.
Okay, and see, and deputy clerk isn't ever referenced here. It doesn't.
Because my
exist.
title is treasurer deputy clerk.
Okay, and so we have
It's
to
a
make it clear in
Combined
here.
title,
You
but
know.
everybody knows me as the treasurer. So,
So that, but we need to, that needs to be made clear, because it's not, when we look at this, it's not clear.
but if you ask somebody who the deputy clerk is, I don't think anybody would know.
Exactly, which is my whole point. Let's
Oh.
table this for,
Yeah.
I mean, this is good discussion.
Mhm.
And let's just keep drilling down on it till we can get to a point that I think we, and I'd be happy to sit down with you and see if we can, come up with some, even with Andrea and see if we can come up with something that could, and I know what you're saying about different circumstances. That's why you have different roles in here from different issues to they go here versus the other, but
Do we have an org chart?
Well, that's kind of what my question was, like. the
well, I thought
order-
everything goes to the mark. Yeah,
We'd have,
should have.
for this, we should have an org chart
Yep.
to help define
I agree with that.
the quote unquote ladder.
And
That's
then, there's other vaguenesses in established village procedures. Does that mean that they're in a memo somewhere or they're in, I mean, what is an established village procedure? I don't know the answer to that.
In her bullet points. She's on her bullet.
Yeah, the last page are the other things that are inconsistent. And then if, you know, like on this one, it says you have the option, the new proposal says you can go to the supervisor, the president, the chief police, or the village attorney. Well, they're going directly to the village attorney? Do we pre-authorize the cost of fire, you know?
We don't.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, that's a
I don't know
problem
that that
right
should be in there.
there. And that goes to the problem of the chain of how you proceed.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but I think, again, it gets back down to, you know, it's not saying EEOC in here. It's saying that if there is, it's defined as any activity they may consider to be illegal or dishonest. And then it defines as such as workplace safety. If you took illegal or dishonest out of there, that could be a whole realm of things.
Yeah.
So if we drive it down to what we're considering, because like you said, the org chart would definitely show you who there would be filing their complaints with.
Right.
And everybody would know, okay, that's the person and what if that person does? Okay, then that person. will
And
be the
that's
next
where,
one.
yeah,
Because what happened was there was a disconnect between it. Well, for some reason, it wasn't properly being, you know, executed the way it should have.
When
So,
when did
I-
that occur?
For the purposes of, this, moving this along, I'm perfectly fine with tabling this, and working, you know, continuing to work on it
okay.
and what good discussion on it anyways.
Is that a motion, sir?
Well, cause you know, I just took I thought that the red stuff was the attorney, but I guess it was, the attorney did the black.
Yeah.
And then Jeff,
Pete.
Pete
Right.
commented on it with the red text.
Mhm.
And I looked at Pete's challenges to it and, you know, analyzed it a little bit further and went into some definition problems and
Okay.
there
well,
we are.
If you're all right with, we'll just, we'll
Yeah.
table this and continue to work down through it. And,
And then I do have one question, do we have the ability to easily modify the existing handbook?
Yes.
So if we come up with changes,
we
To
can make
make
a
these things-
recommendation
Yes.
to the
Yep.
board.
and physically, we have the ability to make those
Yes.
changes, it's,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then
So-
we'll make some of these policy decisions about, you know, is there ever a reason that you go directly to the village attorney? Probably not, but
well,
that's,
that would be the board's decision on that to decide if that, because like if it was, you know,
but
if
you
it
gotta,
was one of the potential maybe trustees that was, you know, acting outside of the realm of where they would need to, you should probably go to the village attorney, because maybe there's charges that need to be.
well, and
moving
that's
against
a
that
person,
person or
that you
something
don't
like that.
have a supervisory chain for them.
Correct.
I mean, that's, you know, that,
Hence the org
Cause
chart.
they're not
Right.
an employee, they're an elected official.
right, but they are
That wouldn't
still
apply
somebody
to them
that a
anyways.
complaint can be made about their
Yeah.
behavior.
Correct.
And they are part of this as
They're-
well, and this policy also states village officer or official.
Yeah.
So, org chart would be beneficial.
Right,
So I think we work on an org chart and get one put forward along with identifying, common policies that we can adopt in here for this.
and the only thing we need to be careful of is you've gotta be able to, the person who's got the problem has to kind of know where they're supposed to go with it. That's the bottom line.
I agree.
And some of the language in this proposal was actually pretty good. Waste of public funds, you know, mismanagement of, you know, those are good sort of catch-all phrases, but they're helpful when you're got somebody who thinks there's a problem.
Mhm.
So, okay. My work here is done today. To be continued.
Okay. So are we going to go into closed session to consider evaluation of data of public employees which the government body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility, review of goals for department heads, or are we going to table that and review that at a separate session?
In interest of time and next meeting, I move the table.
Okay, so we will table convening into closed session. Could we set aside a time to do that though?
I'm open to an extra meeting for committee.
I prefer to do that if we can. Is that out of the realm of us just going into closed session to review this and So you wanna get this done before the board meeting?
Might be tough.
It'll be Monday. I'm booked up next week.
You have a meeting on Monday, Caleb, 5 o'clock.
No, huh?
Public safety is.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking the Monday before
Oh.
the village board
Okay.
meeting. I'm out of town next week.
I am available.
That's the Monday before the village board meeting, the 18th.
You wanna do it at 5? Does
We can. If you wanna do it then,
that work for you, Andrea?
she doesn't need to be here if you don't want,
I'll be here.
or you can be here. If you want,
Somebody's gotta take the minute.
move. Ready? Motion to table till special call meeting for convening to closed session on the 18th at 5 o'clock. That's a motion
I make a motion.
to table it till it.
Yeah.
No, second. Motion made, seconded, table till the 18th at 5 PM. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Okay, next item is future agenda items. The only thing I have on here that I've been reached out by is, the possibility of discussing, fundraising, with, other agencies in the village. So I'd like to put that on the agenda for next month. I was approached by somebody that would like to see if we can't maybe come into some kind of agreement. I don't know what the policy is on that, but I think it's worthy of a discussion.
And then after our conversation with others, do you want to start reviewing the financial management plan?
Financial management plan, yes. Can we get the actual, current
Document,
policies and,
yeah.
and stuff and
Sure.
start reviewing them? So we got a little bit of time to start going over that before then?
Yep.
No further business before us. A financial management plan, fundraising discussions, on the next, agenda items.
Move to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded, second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed. Motion carried. We are adjourned 5:55 PM. I have no problem.